Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Service Peachtree City Office's weekly weather briefing. I'm meteorologist Sid King, and I'll be giving you a rundown on what we can expect in the coming week. So to start out, we have warm and humid conditions that are going to persist today and tomorrow, and that's ahead of an approaching cold front, which is going to bring some showers and isolated thunderstorms to north and central Georgia Friday night and through Saturday. Not a lot of moisture is expected ahead of it. Rainfall amounts are expected to be about 25 hundredths of an inch or less, mostly in northwest Georgia. And widespread severe weather is not expected at this time. An isolated storm could become strong, but nothing severe is expected. Cooler and drier conditions are expected behind the cold front early next week as we return to more seasonal conditions, and temperatures will gradually climb a little each day under the influence of high pressure building into the area by the middle of next week. Here's a look at our current satellite imagery. You can see there's in the northwestern parts of the state, there's some fog that was in place in the early morning, which has since dissipated, and we're probably going to be looking at that as well tomorrow, just with the influence of high pressure and such a humid air mass in place and such weak winds. There are some dense fog in the valleys, and that is dissipated by about noon today, and we have a cumulus field developing over the area. Here's a synoptic map of the contiguous United States. And you can see we have a high pressure diagnosed over central Georgia. And we've got warm and humid conditions under this high pressure with ample Gulf moisture over the area. But that said, there is a cold front that's currently stretching across the Midwest with cooler and drier air mass behind it. And that's going to be moving southeastward towards the area over the next couple of days. So for today, warm conditions continue. We're going to be getting into the 80s across north and central Georgia today under mostly cloudy skies. And then tomorrow we're going to be once again in the mid 80s across the area. A little bit of precip moving into the area late in the afternoon into the evening. And then on Saturday, during the early morning hours, we can see the precipitation ahead of the front coming in. We have 60–70% chances of rain across the far northwest corner of the state, with isolated thunderstorms embedded within ahead of the cold front as it moves into the area. The front is going to get a bit more diffuse as it moves through the area. There's not going to be as much organization with it. Not as much moisture to work with as it moves into central Georgia, so rainfall amounts and rain chances are going to decrease as the front pushes southeastward through the area on Saturday. Here's a look at our rainfall forecast. Right now, rainfall amounts are expected to be about 1/4 of an inch or less, mostly confined along and north of the I-85 corridor. And once again, widespread severe weather is not expected ahead of this cold front as it moves through the area. Now it'll be noticeably different on Sunday. We're going to be looking at cooler conditions with lows in the 40s and low 50s as the rain comes to an end and the cold front passes. And then a very pleasant day Sunday afternoon with highs in the upper 60s and low 70s across the area. So here's a look at our 7-day forecast. You can see the contrast from today and Friday compared to the early parts of next week, where we had very late summer looking mid-80 temperatures today, followed by upper 60s and low 70s in the early parts of next week. Those are going to steadily climb into the mid parts of next week as high pressure builds over the area. With ample sunshine, it'll continue to increase a couple of degrees each day. A few river gauges are still observing elevated water levels from last week's heavy rain. We still have 2 gauges that are in flood stage. We have a minor flood at Mount Vernon and a moderate flood in Abbeville. Both of those are on their way down and are expected to decrease and drop below flood over the next several days. The tropics are expected to remain mostly quiet over the next 5 days. We only have a 10% chance of tropical storm formation in the weak area of low pressure in the West Atlantic Ocean. And then here's our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Expected to be relatively dry over our area during that time, a 40 to 50% chance of below normal precip, and then a bit warmer than average, about 33 to 40% of a chance of being above average as far as temperatures are concerned. So to sum things up, we have warm and humid conditions persisting through the end of the week. That's going to come to an end as a cold front brings showers and isolated thunderstorms to the area. Not a lot of rain or severe weather is expected with it, fortunately, and then we get the added benefit of having cooler and drier fall-like conditions built in behind the cold front early next week. The temperatures are generally going to climb under the influence of high pressure, but should still remain in the 70s for the highs. And that concludes our weekly weather briefing. Here's our contact information if you ever need to get in touch with us. On behalf of all of us here in the National Weather Service in Peachtree City, we'd like to thank you all for your attention, and we hope you have a great week.